What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Back to the Classics, the cinematic movie podcast that takes you back to the iconic films of 20 years ago. I am your boy, Jay Alonzo. How you doing? Did you miss me? Because I missed you. Kay Williams, my partner in crime, is normally with me, but today he is not here. But I have somebody special, very near and dear to my heart, an extreme talent beyond everybody else, a mentor to me, a dear friend. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all make some noise for actor, writer, director, producer, teacher, homeboy, Marcus Folmar. Marcus, what's going on, man?
Yo, what's going on? I appreciate that introduction.
Yeah, I work on them. I want to make sure that when I got all my guests on, I'm definitely trying to give them the light, because we're going to hang out for like an hour. So essentially, it's about you. I want you to look good. Forget me.
All right. No, I like the sound of that. I got no problem with that.
Cool. So once again, want to thank you for being on the show. Like I said, I've known you, what are we looking at? A couple years now.
I was going to say 6, could be 7.
Something like that. And yeah. And you run this fantastic acting class called the Booking Room, which I'm a past student of. Before we get to the other stuff, I want you to explain that first. Exactly what is the Booking Room and how can the Booking Room benefit the up-and-coming talent that we have making their way to LA or to New York or their next place?
Well, the Booking Room is a school. We focus in on audition preparation. When I first came to Los Angeles, I had to go through the circuit of auditioning and making mistakes. And, I feel like if you do enough auditioning, you eventually learn the do's and don'ts and learn to sort of master that very strange environment that it can be inside that audition room. But casting directors have very long memories, and you don't want to kind of make that bad impression. You'd rather make all your mistakes somewhere else. So having been out there and learned a lot, I kind of thought I wish there was a place where I could learn all of those things and make those mistakes so that when I'm hitting these audition rooms off the bat, making great first impressions. And so that's why I put together the Booking Room. It's an on-camera class. We treat that classroom just like it's the audition room, like you're in a casting office, and we put things on tape. And, I kind of coach the actors and get them up to speed. So now whenever they get a piece of material, they know exactly what to do with it.
Nice. And you have the background to definitely give people the proper tools they need to get to that next, to at least book the job. And then once you get your foot in the door, then you're in the door. And that's one of the main special things about the Booking Room. From personal experience myself, you've taught some of the craziest yet unique techniques on how to get your foot in the door. So looking at your IMDb, your credits are great, by the way. Go ahead and let the listeners know exactly how'd you get your start. You went to Northwestern University, correct?
Well, I went to Northwestern, yes, and I studied film and acting at Northwestern, but my start actually came before that. I was a child actor living in Denver, Colorado, so there were limited opportunities, but there were some there, and I was in this group called Kid Skits, and it was a performing company, but they also had a conservatory where they were teaching classes, and they had a talent agent. So I booked my very first job when I was in the 9th grade on a show called Father Dowling Mysteries. Now, that is not on my IMDb. I took that off because it would make me seem super old because nobody remembers that show, and I have to explain. I was just a child when I did that. But
we all had a choice.
Right. It totally, it was an NBC show, starred the father from Happy Days.
Henry Winkler, the Fonz? No.
The Fonz. Anyway, I'm but Happy Days' daddy was a priest who basically was the father of a church by day, and by night he was a junior detective. So I played a neighborhood kid named Mike, And, I just got the bug from then and went on to Northwestern and did some auditioning in Chicago while I was getting my formal training. Did some industrials and some commercials there in Chicago. And then, upon coming to LA, my first big job out here was Frasier. That kind of started the Hollywood run and been going ever since.
Okay. You have, among your list of talents, screenwriting is definitely up there for you. You had a script. I remember me and you talked about this years ago for a movie that you wrote called The List.
Yes.
A lot of the listeners who listen to this show are screenwriters, and we like to go back and we talk about how writing is different from back in the day when these movies came out to present day when a lot of the movies we're getting now are the comic book joints. We're getting a lot of the remakes, rehashes.
Right.
It just keeps on going. So I thought the story that you told me about when you got The List produced.
Yeah.
I think that's a great story. If you could tell them that story, that'd be awesome.
Well, like I mentioned at Northwestern, I did sort of two programs. I was in the acting, but also in the film program, and I sort of made film the writing. Writing for the screen became sort of my area of focus. So the earliest version of this movie I actually wrote in class. And, came out to LA, and after a while feeling like I'm supposed to be doing writing and acting, but I really wasn't doing any writing, I revisited that script and just started, retooling it till essentially it was a brand new script. And then I submitted it to a few different of these writing fellowships and festivals and whatnot, and I ended up winning one of the screenwriting competitions, and that's kind of what got the ball rolling. I met a manager that ended up wanting to be the independent producers of the film, and so they were all over the world really looking for financing, and they found money in Germany to make this little romantic comedy. And once we got Wayne Brady attached to be the male lead of it, it got a little bit bigger. So we ended up having Wayne Brady, Malcolm Jamal Warner, the female, the romantic interest was played by Sydney Tamaya Portier, the legend's daughter. Jane Lynch was in it. Ileana Douglas, a great indie cast, and that was a great learning experience. But I like what you said, the difference between then and now. I mean, it's a great story. There's not a lot of special effects. I mean, you used to have time to sort of let stories play out and, relationships develop. And I think with the attention span of the whole world being so much shorter now, that's kind of seeped into the filmmaking.
It's the shiny red ball syndrome. It's always been that way. Well, not always, but it seems like the older we get, it just becomes if it's not a remake or a superhero movie or a bad parody of something, it's a shiny red ball syndrome. One more question before we get into a 2-minute drill. What's next for you? What do you got coming up next?
I actually have a web series that I wrote. It's called Alleyway. And I wrote it, I directed it, I star in it. It was just a great exercise to sort of bring together all of the different aspects of what I do. I even cast it with all of my students. So it becomes like a great showcase also for the booking room. So if you look it up, alleywayseries.com, every actor you see is a booking room student, past or present. Our host of this show makes a little cameo.
I do make a small appearance in the show. It was great, for my 30 seconds of fame. Never mind. It's not about me.
Right. We're bringing you back, though. But that is what I'm working on right now, actually. A season 2 of that. I have a couple other film projects that I'm rewriting. One family film as well as one comedy. So I got my hands in a lot of writing stuff, and right now it's pilot season, so there's some auditioning going on as well. So I just try to keep a lot of balls in the air. Is that what they say? Irons in the fire.
Yeah, that irons in the fire sounds more legit than balls in the air.
Like
But just kind of juggle the balls. It's a little weird.
Right. We'll go with that.
All right. So once again, we are so lucky to have you on. I thank you. We're gonna have some fun with this show. The first thing we're gonna do is 2-minute drill, in which we rapid fire questions back to each other. And it's 2 minutes, and whoever gets these questions right can start the real talk segment of the show. Even though you're my guest, I'm gonna let you do that, sir.
All right. So I am asking you trivia questions.
Yes, yeah, only about the movie though.
Only about the movie.
Only about the movie.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So 2-minute drill starts now.
Who directed this film?
Mike Newell.
Okay.
Okay. Finish this quote. All the best cooks are.
All the best cooks are men.
Correct.
All the best cooks are men. Yes.
1-1.
What is a fugazi?
A fugazi is a fake.
Okay.
It's a fake, Don. What famous actor's death is mentioned in this movie?
Ooh, what famous actor's death? John Wayne.
The Duke. That's right. 2-2.
This is a hard one.
Okay.
Where is Lefty from? What street is Lefty from?
Oh, man. Okay. I know he says it in, like, the very beginning, but what the hell does he say? You know, Al Pacino's been old for years, so I'm trying to, figure that part out. But, 3rd and 25th? I don't know.
No! Mulberry Street. Mulberry Street is the answer.
All right. Okay, we got 40 seconds. How must a wise guy carry his money?
In a roll, never in a wallet.
G. That's G. We got 30 seconds and you're up 3 to my 2.
What's the name of the hotel that in Florida that they're gonna the club that they're gonna reopen?
King's Court.
That is correct.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay, 3-3. Okay, got 10 seconds. What does it mean when you get sent for?
Ooh, might mean you're about to get whacked. You gotta go for sure though.
So you won, and you only beat me by 1. All right, so don't. All right.
That Mulberry question. Yes.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give the intro, and then you can kick it off. All right. So if you don't know what movie we're talking about, we are taking it back to 1997 with Donnie Brasco, one of Johnny Depp's better performances. Before the pirate thing, whatever. He just kind of took a turn for the worse, personally. But anyway, original release date February 28th, 1997. Shares opening weekend with Booty Call, last week's movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
What to see? Oh my God, the choice. That must have been a difficult weekend to try to figure out what to do.
Booty Call or Donnie Brasco.
Yeah.
That might be a double feature.
Films.
Yeah, absolutely. Box office total of $124 million with a production budget of $35 million. Made some money back.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. Gotcha. Movie currently sits at an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. Is that fair?
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's solid.
Okay. All right. So, with that being said, Real Talk is part of the show where we pretty much just break down the plot and have a good time talking about it. So, the floor is yours, sir. Kick us off in Real Talk.
Okay. Donnie Brasco. Basically, we got a movie about an undercover FBI agent to just jump into the middle of it. At the point that we meet, who's known as Don the Jeweler, we meet him. He's been undercover already for almost 2 years, just sort of building up a rep as a jeweler. He's hanging out in the places where he could meet the wise guys. And in our first scene, we basically have him at a bar, and he's detected by Lefty. That's Al Pacino. He's like, who's this guy? Oh, that's Don the Jeweler. Basically, all of the upper power team is meeting. And he ends up going up there to Don the jeweler, he has a ring that he's been given. It's a diamond ring. And he's like, hey, do you know where I can unload this, basically? What do you think about
Is
this?
that your Italian accent?
I might be slipping into it. I don't know. Was not intentional. Well,
Okay.
I will try it right here, though, because Donnie takes a look at it, and he's like, it's a fugazi.
It's a fugazi. No, it's a fugazi.
A fugazi. What do you mean a fugazi, Al Pacino? And that means a fake.
I love how no matter what's going on in this movie, everything's a fucking question. Like, everything is a question. What do you mean it's fugazi? A fugazi?
Fugazi.
You know you fucking
Forget
talking
about
to? Fugazi.
Right. And he calls, what does he say? What do you, I'm not, a Dunksky? I think that was in the same scene. There was like,
Dumpski?
Dumpski?
Something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Like, what do you think? I'm a chump? Well, I would have said chump or something like that. But based on Donnie's say, we've got Al Pacino, or I should say Lefty, a.k.a., his, that was another one of my questions, some of his aliases.
Yes, that's actually my takeaway, so we'll get to that later.
Okay, we'll get to that. I was going to say that. But they go and see the guy who gave Lefty this ring, who claims it's worth $8,000, and now he's like, one of you guys is lying. Is it worth $8,000 or is it a fugazi? And I don't know. I kind of got the feeling that maybe it was a real ring, but Donnie ends up beating this dude down just to save his life ultimately, and that gets him in deeper, wins the respect and trust of Lefty, and now basically Lefty, he resolves the situation, takes the guy's Porsche in exchange for the $8,000 ring, and now they're riding down over the bridge, and he's like, basically, you're gonna be my guy.
Yeah, that part's awesome because before we get to the you're gonna be my guy part, Lefty takes Donnie over to meet up with Jilly. That way, Jilly can pretty much confirm who Donnie is. That's his man. I vouch for him. Once that happened, then Donnie was down with Lefty and all that. Let me ask you a question, and just to kind of jump off topic for a split second, undercover cop movies.
Yeah.
Should they be making a comeback?
Should they be making a comeback? I think. Are you suggesting they are? I'm trying to think. Like, when's the last time? The last real one we had was what? I love these type of stories. Really.
I do too. I think man, how long has it been since we had a undercover cop real deep in the shit movie?
What was the movie? The Departed.
The Departed.
I mean, I think that was maybe the last one.
The last official one. I was gonna say In Too Deep with LL Cool J and Omar Epps, but I'm going a bit too far back.
You went back, and I also like, oh man, Lawrence Fishburne, right?
Oh man, what's the movie
I
called?
should have done my research on that.
Oh man, is it A Day in the Life?
Day in the Life. I don't know what that is.
Oh man, I think he directed it.
Okay.
Is it that? I don't know.
Now I'm gonna jump on the internet and tell you what I'm talking about, but stand by on that.
All right, no problem. But anyway,
I think I would happily go see another one. I think they make good movies. They make good character studies because there's always this crisis of like, I got into it because I have a certain set of beliefs. But I think any good gangster movie really is going to do a good job of humanizing these villains, like, The Godfather, any of these things. We end up rooting for the bad guy, like, because we like them on some level. And so when you're coming in as the guy that's supposed to take them down, if you have this undercover movie, it's always going to be this interesting conflict. Like, I like this guy, I'm working with him, I've gained this trust, yet I have this mission. So,
and to me, it's something about an undercover cop movie that has all the suspense, all the drama. Like I said, it is a character study, but you know they always have that part in the movie where the character, like the guy that's undercover, has now gone like 100 times deeper into the shit now, to the point where he's in too deep now, you know, and he has to make a really drastic decision, like his family and life and all that shit depends on it. Like it's good, and I remember rewatching this movie. First of all, I want to say that yesterday was the first time I had watched it all the way through in about 15 years or so.
Sure.
First time I seen it, I had to be like 10 or 11, so I shouldn't have watched it, but I did. But when you watch it again, it has that style, that flavor of those old wise guys, you know, you know, forget about it, fuck out of here, you know, all that. And everybody was, you know, Lefty, Jilly, Bruno, Jesus, I'm forgetting so many characters right now, but that to me was like Sonny, yeah. But Lefty was my guy. And I love all of his aliases, by the way.
Right. They're great.
Okay.
Deep Cover. I was talking about Deep Cover.
Deep Cover. Lawrence Fishburne and Jeff Goldblum. Dre and Snoop was on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another one of my all-time favorite movies. So maybe there is a sort of, you know, a theme or a pattern here in what I respond to, because that was another great.
That was a fantastic movie, and I wish it would have came out a little bit later on in life, because I could have did it for 20 years, but I'm way past that.
Okay.
I'm way past that. So, we get to the scene where the gang is collecting up. We see Sonny Black. We see what's my guy's name, played by Bruno Kirby. I can't think of his name right now. Donnie. No, not Donnie. I'm sorry. Nicky. There we go.
Nicky.
Yes, we see Nicky. We see Sonny. We see Sonny Black. We see and the rest of the crew. But it was then, and I like the way they played this. It was then the other bosses pull up, and these are the bigger bosses. Now we get Sonny. We get Sonny Red, you know, and Sonny Red is a snake from jump. As soon as you see him, he's a snake.
As soon as you see the red shoes, like the snake skin, was it snake skin?
Snake skin, yes.
Snake skin boots.
I mean, he's a snake. He's a snake from the minute you see him. So, and then you know when Sonny Red sees Donnie, he goes, "Who the fuck is this guy?" You know, and that's my Italian language.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
It was good. Cool. And that's we get the look at the bigger boss. I can't think of his name for the life of me, but it shows the level of the mafia and how it's going. You got your bosses, your mid bosses, you got your wise guys, you know, and everybody's really trying to get to being the made guy, you know, which is why I love Sonny Black as a character so much, you know,
ambition,
absolutely. So,
you know what else I like about that scene is like, you know, it is a big moment for Donnie Brasco and for Lefty, even though it's not so overtly big, but, you know, you're bringing this guy into the fold, and, you know, that whole, who is this? You're a friend of mine, ours, you know, by the fact that he introduces him, he is already vouched for this guy, saying that, you know, he's with me. He's to be trusted, basically. And just
standing there, just being there, right there as all these important faces are, you know, on the same block as you, you know, and simply being there, you were vouched for it. Like I couldn't imagine being an undercover cop must be the shittiest of jobs, because at any given moment, if you're made, what do you do?
Right.
Like, what do you do? Like, I couldn't imagine. I give up the whole bureau.
Well, you know what though? Like this movie, I think a lot of the movies that have the undercover cops, they grapple more with what they can and cannot do than Donnie Brasco did, or I should say, Agent Pistone did. Like
Joseph
he did
Pistone.
a lot of dirt. He didn't ride that line so good. He was in so deep. I mean, he was just committing felonies. Like,
technically, he should be doing time, because he was accessory to a lot of shit. Like, a lot of shit. So speaking of Joseph Pistone, before I get to the next part, we have a cool one-on-one with Donnie and Lefty over at Lefty's place. That's when Lefty kind of reveals to us he has cancer of the prick.
Yes. That was another one of my questions. I'm not familiar with this ailment. It was news to me. But, yeah, hey, they're bonding for sure. Like, he's in the inner circle.
What would you say is the cancer for the prick?
I guess that would just be, is that just like impotency? Is that his way of describing it, trying to put it on cancer?
When I first heard it, I took it as, unfortunately, my mind goes south pretty quickly. Something like, so you got like cancer like in your prick, like you have, cancer of the balls, testicular
that's
issues.
A thing. That's a thing. I think that is a thing.
But they never quite elaborate on what exactly he meant by cancer of the prick.
No, they don't.
Okay.
I think they leave it to your imagination. But what we know for sure is that, Donnie is definitely in his world. We find out he's sort of open about his son and the fact that his son is a junkie and how he feels about that. And, you don't have any family, or so Donnie has told him. So, hey, you're not going to be a part of my family.
Which, I thought that was a good moment because Donnie hadn't made it in. He found a friend. He found his true connect on the inside and how to get deeper. And you could definitely tell he wasn't quite in tune with what was awaiting him,
Right.
He just found his way in, and it was cool. It's a cool transition because the very next scene we get no longer Donnie Brasco. We now get Joe Pistone, the family man, and what his home life was like, and which we now see his home life is practically torn to shreds. His wife, played by Anne Heche, tells him that his 12-year-old daughter has a boyfriend. Now, before we even really get deep into that, I'm a father. My daughter's 10.
Right.
I don't know. I get it. She had to let Pistone know what's going on at home when he's not at home. But as a father,
right,
for the missus to come home and tell you that your 12-year-old daughter got a little boyfriend and she's over at the boyfriend's house,
right,
and I was like, so you just letting that ride? Like, nah. But
well, I think it's a semantics thing. Like, maybe I feel like had she said she's on a play date, would that have felt better? Does a father in you receive that a little bit better?
If it was a play date,
Because I think that's probably more of what the equivalent of it was. Like, she's hanging out at this boy's house, probably, hopefully supervised. We're going to assume. We're going to assume they're supervised. I don't know. But, it sounds innocent. Of course, I'm not a father, so,
Yeah. I told my daughter she couldn't date until, she was like 30. So, hey,
Good luck with that, bro.
I'm
Good
trying.
luck enforcing that.
I'm trying. There will be a whole lot of cleaning guns from the boys, apparently, because I ain't playing that shit.
Okay, bad boys. Is that?
So it's like, how you come on in, son? I'm like cocking my shotgun. Come on in, I'm just cleaning it. Nothing.
Right. If you need me to be the backup, like, in Bad Boys with Will Smith,
man,
and, Martin's character when they did that scene, I'll come help you out.
Unfortunately, these little boys today are getting kind of testy, so we can't just scare them. We may actually have to hurt these little motherfuckers. So,
okay.
If you're down, to take that ride downtown with me, just in case we got to get, some lineup issues.
Listen, I'm not gonna go on record. Let's talk off the air about that.
No, nobody said nothing about nothing.
And we'll see.
I love the kids. I love all the kids.
But that was another thing about the movie that I found interesting. We didn't know that he actually had that whole home life until it's kind of revealed. That's just again, whoever wrote it. I like that like I said in the beginning, we jumped into it, and now it's this new layer. He actually does have a life. He's been under for 2 years, and it's ripping this family apart.
The next scene we get the big boss. I can't think of his name for the life of me, but the big boss gets whacked.
Was that Rusty? No, that wasn't Rusty.
It wasn't Rusty.
That was the new boss. It's on the cover of that. The cover of the paper.
That's right. That's right. And after that, that's when Lefty gets sent for. And of course, you know, when Donnie comes to pick up Lefty's practically out of it. He's kind of nervous. He doesn't know what's getting ready to happen. And then that's when we get our first definition of what's, you know, getting sent for actually means. You know, you'll go in alive, you may come out dead.
But you still go.
But you still go.
You go. You don't, which is interesting. Like, you know, it's just something you have to deal with. And it seems like the other guys, everybody knows that is a possible outcome of being sent for. Even so, the people around you, they seem to be enjoying kind of riding the line of not really telling you what this is.
Just let you know when you get sent for, you go. Like you can't take a rain check. You can't, you know, reschedule for another day. Like, no, the big boss said you got to go. You have to go.
There's no calling in sick that day.
I can't call. God damn. So that's why I'm being a mother is not for me. we find out that Sonny Black, played by Michael Madsen, who always plays the slime ball mafioso with a terrible, terrible throat issue. Like that's always been his character trait. So
right.
You know, it didn't surprise me that he was the guy that got made, the guy that got upped first.
Yeah.
You know? And I actually forgot the part when I saw the movie the original time. So they take Lefty and Donnie out to this like airport hangar.
Right.
And, you know, the whole time Lefty's thinking like this could be it. And as they make their way over to the airport hangar, they reveal this cage with a big ass lion inside of it.
Right.
And I thought that was...
And notice like the dark before the reveal. You know, I thought that was interesting, like paralleling another scene that comes later on. There's like a dark, and then the lights pop on, and a big ass lion.
Big ass lion. And it's a gift given to Lefty from Sonny, who just got upped. So I like the scene because obviously Sonny's able to calm down now that he knows he's not going to get whacked anytime soon. That next scene, we get Sonny and Donnie practically feeding the lion like all of 40 burgers.
In the backseat of his Cadillac.
Did they drive with that big son of a bitch in the backseat?
How do you go from having a lion in a cage and then be like, oh, well, we got to get him. Like, put him in the backseat.
So let me take him out the cage and put him in the backseat. He won't, try to bite my ear or nothing. I don't think so.
I think that's, and then the lion, this was in New York. I'm assuming, I'm sort of jumping, but they have that same lion later in
Miami.
In Miami. This lion, was he one of the first class tickets that they bought?
This lion definitely travels better than most humans for sure.
He's got like I want his freaking flyer miles.
I'm saying, like, you went from New York to Miami. Like, I still ain't seen Miami yet. I'm a grown ass man, So
right.
The next scene is when all the guys, they go over to help me with this. They meet up with the guy that's about to get whacked. Who's about to get whacked?
They meet up with who do they meet up with? Which one is that? Who's about to get whacked?
I'm not sure, but I know this is the first time that Donnie kind of loses his cool because he sees somebody get whacked for the first time. Because they try to pull Sonny away. Oh
yeah. This is there's a whole montage where now that Sonny's been upped, Lefty and Donnie are working directly under him. And I feel like it's basically just showing his temper because they're running all the different scams and they're hustling and everything and he could have walked away from that guy. I don't know why he shot that guy. That wasn't like, I think that was more spur of the moment. That wasn't like,
It was, but then I also felt like the way Sonny's main attitude towards stuff, like he just didn't care. So,
right.
Even when, you had Lefty try to hold him back, then you had Donnie trying to hold him back, and then at the time, Nicky's trying to hold him back. He's like, yeah, I got it, and he's walking away. Like, screw that, turns around, he pops the guy anyway,
Right.
Like, he's playing his hand, and he's showing us that he's not to be fucked with. He's the guy he's the guy for his guys,
Yeah.
And
I don't even know if we knew who that guy was that got whacked. I think he was just some casualty of the game.
Yeah, somebody who owed some money and didn't pay up for sure.
Didn't pay up, right?
So,
but I think that is the first murder that Donnie witnesses.
That is the first murder that Donnie witnesses. That's the first one he actually loses his cool about.
Right.
Which is already a red flag. You being there makes you an accessory. Simple as that.
Absolutely.
So
soon after, I don't remember the next scene. But the next beat of it for me is when Lefty begins to suspect that because we having in the we can't go past that, the Chinese restaurant or the Japanese restaurant.
My favorite scene.
That is the deep scene. This comes after that. It's kind of like Donnie and Lefty are now in good. They're part of Sonny's crew. And, after a hard day's killing folks and robbing folks, they go for a meal.
They get hungry.
They get hungry. So they go to a traditional Japanese restaurant where it's the custom for the customers to remove their shoes. Now, Donnie can't remove the shoes. We don't know why at the time, but he's refusing to do it. And we really see how he's a master at getting out of sticky situations. Like, he's not taking off that boot, and he's got to create some sort of diversion as to why he's not doing it. And he makes up the story. I don't know if he had... See, as an actor, we're always making up backstories.
Right.
So I wonder, like, as an undercover agent, did he already have this backstory that his parents... that he couldn't grow up with his parents because of the war, or if he made that up on the spot?
That had to be on the spot, only because I don't think that he knew that they were going to a Chinese restaurant after killing all those people, and killers do get hungry, so they could have went to McDonald's for all he knew, but that's where he ended up, and it just so happens that it's tradition that you got remove your shoes. Now, when I saw the scene, and of course, all the old 90s movies did it. When the character has something he's trying to hide, the camera always goes directly to that thing. So in this case, when they ask him about, take his shoes off, camera goes right to the boot. Like, okay, so there's something in there that he can't get out. Obviously, if you're an adult, you're going to realize, okay, there's obviously some type of a wiretap in there.
Right.
Okay.
Now, for me, it probably would have been like a hole in my sock that I was like, dang, I knew I should have wore these socks. And now everybody's going to see that I'm like a little bit, because I haven't done my laundry in a few days, and I'm, But I
would have said,
it was probably a wire.
I would have said, listen, man, listen. I didn't do my laundry, so if I take off my shoes, you're going to get a barefoot Donnie. I don't like my feet. I feel subconscious about it. I feel like I shouldn't have to prove myself to nobody. I'm a grown ass man, and I'm not taking my shoes off.
But he went a different way. Probably, ultimately, something. And I feel bad for the owner. Was it the owner? Was it? I hope it was the owner. I hope it wasn't just.
That's like the waiter. Host. The waiter took the L. You don't even own the shit, and you still took the L. That's the waiter.
He took a big L. I mean, he got dragged to the back and got dealt with while Lefty watched the door. They beat the mess out of this dude.
They beat the bricks off of this man. And it's like, once again, you're an accessory to a heinous crime.
Right.
And even took a bit of a part in it because, dude spit at him or some shit. And, Brasco got his hits in one time. I mean,
Right.
wow. I love
And
that
that
scene.
was also to me a part of like the transition. Like he didn't have to get those extra licks in, but the gangster was taking over.
Right. You show
And so,
you show he's starting to evolve into what he's trying to take down. You
right,
know.
exactly. So then after that, he's back at his apartment listening back to the footage that this guy took the beat down to protect. And you hear the guy crying out, you hear the licks coming, and he's just emotional as he's like, really, really, he's in up to his ears.
Right. Right. And that sucks for that guy. The next scene is I liked it a lot. It definitely affected me because, at this point now, Lefty flat out shows his loyalty to Donnie.
Mm-hmm.
Not like a father son kind of vibe, but definitely more like I'm your boy, you're my boy. Even though Lefty is overly paranoid at times and even treats Donnie like shit. There's definitely a camaraderie. There's definitely a sense of respect, a sense of care.
Yeah.
And that next scene definitely showed, and that's really part of the character study that Lefty now has this trust for Donnie, growing into a love for Donnie as that's my best friend right there,
Right.
and I love that scene. It's a great scene.
Yes. After that, I believe, is when he meets back up with his handler for the FBI. And, the handler has brought in a guy, his boss from D.C. has come from the Bureau headquarters, and they're basically asking him now to make an introduction, to vouch for this guy, Richie, down in Florida. Because I guess they felt like, hey, his investigation out of Florida needs a little bit of help getting it going, and maybe we can also get these guys caught up in some other stuff by bringing them down there to Florida. So, understanding the rules of how things work, Donnie's reluctant to do it, but we find out later that he actually ends up following through and mentions the guy in Florida.
Yeah, and so they take the trip to Florida. They finally make it down to Florida. The whole crew goes, and it's like heaven on earth for them, especially for the New York guys. They just feel like this is just different. And it gets to the point to where Sonny Black decides, I'm going to stay down there,
Yeah.
And, that's when you really start to see, like, Sonny Black emerge into this cold-hearted dude,
But with Lefty though starts having ideas that, hey, instead of bringing Sonny Black in this could be an opportunity for me to make a move.
Right.
I could get this place down here. I need the backing of the boss down here, so let me take him on this boat, show him this great time. He asked Donnie to find him a boat, and he's going to try to do this thing essentially behind Sonny's back.
Right.
And it doesn't work.
Eventually, Sonny does find out, and it's a crazy thing because when they finally do get the boat, and the big boss shows up, Lefty, he's so proud. He can't wait to pitch his idea, and the first thing he does is, "Hey, where's Sonny Black?" And just like that, Sonny is already on to Lefty and Donnie, and he's doing the big deal with the boss man, And I thought that scene was so cold.
I love the fact that, when he gets out of that car right before he gets on the boat, Sonny Black lights up a cigarette, strikes the match, and then hands the matchbook to Lefty.
Oh,
and it's from King's Court.
Love that scene. Loved it. Like, here you go. Take that real quick.
He's like, I know what you've been up to. I don't know how he knew, because now it starts to drive a little bit of a wedge between Lefty and Donnie, because Lefty now thinks that it must have been Donnie who told Sonny about this plan. And I kind of feel like it wasn't, but it's never really explained exactly how Sonny knew about this. Did you feel like you knew? Was it Donnie?
When I watched it, I had my ideas. I wasn't sure exactly which way to go. Like I keep thinking to myself that it was some of the agents inside the FBI which we'll go back to that later on in the show. But I felt like it was those two agents in the FBI who likely tipped off either Sonny or somebody in Sonny's camp to let them know that, we're going to have a boat and you're meeting with this person about this thing. Some sort of way. But then again, later on in the movie, we're faced to look for, the rat. And if the rat is not Donnie, there's another rat among us. But who is that rat?
Yeah. But that boat ends up being a big moment between Sonny Black and Donnie, because essentially he adopts, if you will, Donnie as his man.
Full blown snatches him.
Yeah, it snatches him up. You don't work for Lefty anymore. You're mine. Right. You belong to me.
Right. Now,
which I don't know how I feel about another man like you belong to me. Like I was like, maybe it's an ancestral thing. Like our people have been through that. I'm cool on belonging to you. But
let's use your words a bit more carefully, sir. Okay,
right.
I don't belong to no damn body. Okay,
right.
So the next scene, I like. It was simple, and it was almost like it was a break from all the tense stuff that's going on before it, and that's the scene where we get Donnie Brasco talking to the two detectives played by Tim Blake Nelson and Paul Giamatti.
Paul Giamatti.
Yes, and going over the origins of Forget About It.
Right.
Which I thought was so cool. It was a nice break, a nice breather, before we get to the next super tense-ass moment of the movie.
Right. It was a really nice moment. And honestly, though, this is on a different subject. It was about the time that I started to realize that there ain't no black people in this movie.
None.
and I was like, maybe that could have been a black actor. Like one of those FBI guys, they could have had somebody in there to be like in that scene. Like I could have seen like Courtney B. Vance or
even a David Allen Greer, just a random
David
appearance.
Allen Greer, right? and still, instead of Tim Blake Nelson, nothing against him. I like him. I thought he did a great job. Everybody did a great job. It was a nice, lighthearted scene. But that to me, if I was casting, that's where I would have got my my little diversity in there.
Only if Oscar So White was around back in 1997, we would have probably had something going with that. Cause this bullshit. Like there's nobody. Nobody.
Right. Nobody.
I also love I want to say it's the next scene was when is it okay? So the scene when Lefty's air conditioning doesn't work. And Donnie comes in to fix it, and Lefty just blaming him for the whole damn thing. Is that where he says the quote, wise guys don't work on Mother's Day?
I don't remember that. What?
Yeah, it's a wise. You know what? Let me just do a quick disclaimer. I think I watched the extended version of this movie.
Okay.
The reason why is because when I was doing my research for it, and the official runtime was like 2 hours, 6 minutes, I want to say. But the version that I have is like 2:27. I'm like, so I'm thinking I'm going to bring up some stuff that I don't think Marcus is going to know.
Yeah, you just lost me with that. I did not remember that scene at all.
Okay, well, we'll bypass that. Okay.
Okay.
So let's jump over to the airport, where Sonny's there, Lefty's there, Donnie's there, and I can't think of the other cop, but he's there, right?
Okay.
And
right.
And as they're getting ready to book the flight, to board the flight rather, we get the two other agents who don't know that they're undercover.
Right.
Narrowly almost, blowing the whole thing.
Exposing him. Yeah, blowing his cover wide open.
And so, what we get is what I think anybody would have done. knocked him the fuck out real quick. Say, hey,
Right.
shut up, say
Right.
nothing.
He grabbed me. He grabbed my ass. That's what.
He grabbed my cock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, look, fucking grabbed my
even
cock.
more offensive.
I mean, his improv is dead on. Like when your life depends on it, you will sing and dance. This next scene, which I'm not sure if you saw it, but I'm gonna bring it up anyway. Joe and Maggie's therapy session.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the therapy session. Now, I've never been in therapy, but I have had bad relationships to where we argue a lot. But it seems like in these cop movies, the cop who's putting his life in danger, trying to make sure, he can live a better life for his family, he always gets the most shit because he's never home. Even the therapist himself doesn't even side with, like, I put my life online every day, and you want to trip about hours?
Well, I mean, I think the therapist, like, there's really no textbook for this particular situation. Like, he's undercover and his life depends on staying away. I feel like he could have been like, you just give him a pass. But, I think he was just trying to go textbook with it and it was not working.
Yeah. And you see that with the next scene, like when they go outside and Maggie pretty much threatens to leave him. And, he goes on this whole rant like, I just sit on the couch and I just wait for him to fucking bill me and da-da-da-da. And it's like, yeah, I'm basically paying for her to bitch at me in front of you so that you can agree with her and then bill me for the bitch session.
Right, right.
So,
here's a little side note. I got another one of my trivia questions, right? Mm-hmm. In that scene, I was going to ask you, what is Joseph Stone's hometown? Where does he live?
I'm not even going to lie. I do not know.
I don't think it's ever said. But in that scene, if you look in the background on the buildings, you see the name of the shops. It's like Clifton Bakery and Clifton something else.
Is that New York?
So, New Jersey.
New Jersey. Got you. We now know the shit is hit the fan. Maggie is threatening to leave.
Yeah.
Back at home, Donnie gets a call from Annette.
Yes. Lefty's wife.
And we find out that the son, Tommy, had an overdose.
Yes.
Can't say we didn't see it coming.
Oh, yeah.
But he has an overdose. And this is when we get another good moment between Donnie and Lefty.
Amazing moment. Lefty is basically trying to get him to go back to Florida. You belong in Florida now. You don't even belong to me anymore, so get out of here.
Right.
He doesn't really want him to... I don't think he wants to be seen in that vulnerable moment. But, Donnie refuses to leave. He's like, hey, you can beat up on me if you want to. I'm staying right here.
Yeah, he shows his loyalty to Lefty in a time when Lefty doesn't realize he truly does need it. Sure, he's heard about, Sonny coming and taking this guy, but at the same time, when he's supposed to be doing this thing for Sonny in Miami, he's not there. He's with you right now, because,
right.
You opened up to him, and when this tragedy strikes, he's there for you,
Right. And Lefty gets a little emotional there,
mm-hmm.
and when the scene ends, he says, I love you. Which was like a big moment. He's like, I love you, Donnie. Did he just say I love you, Donnie? Or does he just say I love you? But either way, love is expressed.
Yeah. So we get the next scene. Is this the King's Court opening night?
Yes.
Okay.
So mm-hmm.
King's Court
They've
opening
gone
night.
back down there. Obviously, there's been some time passage. We don't exactly know how long. We don't know if Lefty lived. I'm sorry, Lefty's son.
No, they never let us know if he lived or died.
They never let us know if he recovered or not. But in any case, yeah, we're down to opening night of King's Court. It seems like a great event. Money is flowing. It's a full house. The lion is out front as a spectacle.
There's no permit for it?
No permit for it, yes.
Nope.
But yeah, it's like a win. A definite high point for Sonny Black and for Donnie in the work that he's done down there. When all of a sudden he's taking a bag of $300,000. It's the take that they're going to take up to the boss in New York, to Rusty, and that's when the cops show up
and just full on smash the place to shit.
Yeah,
but
put them, grand opening, grand closing.
So cops smash the place up, really based on the fact that they don't have a permit for the lion. Technically,
that's what they say. Yeah.
They smash the place up. They lock up everybody. But this next scene is crazy because the first time in this entire movie, when they're sitting in the cell, now it's at the point to where, okay, there's a rat in the crew. There's definitely a rat in this crew.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And Lefty is the one that comes up with the theory.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a sound theory, too, because it's like, hey, how did they even move on a brand new place this quick? They would need, they would need
2 months for just surveillance.
Surveillance and warrant and all that stuff.
Exactly.
So, Sonny puts Lefty on the job of finding the rat.
And so, meanwhile, once Sonny Red has been notified that the place has been smashed up, he automatically arranges the hit on Sonny Black and that whole crew.
He arranged it.
Oh, he arranged the whole thing.
Yeah, he was the one behind it, and basically, wasn't that that was the Miami bosses that he was coordinating it with?
Mm-hmm. The same guy that pretty much dissed Lefty for the meeting with Sonny.
Right, the guy that they entertained on the boat, so he would have known all of what was going on. He passed the information on to Sonny the Red, and Sonny the Red worked with him to have the cops bust the place up, so that Sonny the Black would look like a fool, be embarrassed, and have to be dealt with.
So this when we find out, when Sonny Black finds out he's been sent for. So he knows what's up. He's very much aware of what's up. So he's beating Sonny Red to the punch. They go over to the meeting spot where they're supposed to meet up with Sonny Red. They get there first. And this scene is so hilarious to me because it never fails. There's always a part where, the badder guys think they have the upper hand on the bad guys. So therefore, they come in, practically tell the whole damn plan as you walk through the door. Right?
Right.
And as you walk through the door, we got Sonny Black and we're going to kill him and yada, yada, yada. And of course, right on schedule, the man goes for the light switch. The light switch doesn't work. Oh, something's wrong with the fucking light. Next thing you know, the lights come on and it's the whole squad on Sonny Black's side, locked and loaded and blowing chunks of body parts off.
and quite a reaction from the guys. They're like, "Oh no, this is about to be bad."
Oh no!
I don't know what I would say. I mean, in that moment, like I said, it was the parallel to the lion moment. Instead of a lion waiting in a cage, it was the crew waiting to blow them up. But there was still that black, and then the flip of the light. Like, don't turn on the light. That's what I learned from that.
No matter what's going on, you leave that light off.
Leave the light off, right?
You can't see. You can't shoot what you can't see.
Can't shoot. Very wise.
The same thing about remember in Harlem Nights when they go to see Quick at the house. No, they go see Sugar Ray at his house, but they've been left. So he corners them in Sugar Ray's crib, then they blow the crib.
Right.
It never fails. All you gotta do is get them all in one spot.
Right.
Take them all out.
That should be added. They had all these wise guy rules, that we learned throughout this movie. They should put something in there about traveling in a crew. Like, you should go individually. Like, never go as a crew. That's
no. Always go alone. Now, in the same scene, it does take a turn for the worse because Nikki, somebody that we've seen throughout the movie as of now, is being pretty loyal to the crew, to Sonny. And when I can't think of his name, but when he goes outside to get Donnie, they come back to where, where the bodies are to, help clean up. It comes so sudden. Once they say, no, Donnie's going to help you. And as soon as Nikki's walking right, maybe half an inch in front of Lefty, Lefty domes him.
Boom.
And
Done.
it's like, whoa! Didn't even see it coming.
Yeah, and for the audience, like I kind of was surprised again the way they set it up. There is sort of a release of tension when Sonny the Red is dealt with, and we kind of know that they're responsible for Florida, and you feel like, oh, okay, we're closing that chapter, and then boom, quite a surprise.
It just comes so sudden.
Especially since the way that they set it up is like if anybody else was about to get dealt with, it kind of seemed like it could be Donnie. So
True.
Your attention is totally on like what's going on? Why is this guy got a gun out on Donnie, and then
Nikki gets the slug.
Right.
So at this point, Donnie has fucking had it. His marriage is in shambles. He's a part of like 8 murders at this point, and he's just done for it. Everything about it just is not what it seems anymore. Of course, at this time, Sonny Black is now boss, and he's doing his thing. He's taking in the prize as it's coming.
You just chopped up some bodies, like that'll do that to you.
Yeah. I don't see that being anywhere like comfortable for anybody.
Right.
So,
but what it did was it set him up in position to be one. I think the next scene is when he gets the contract, right?
Yes, for Bruno, for Sonny's son.
He gets the contract to take care of Bruno. Was that his son, or is that just the homie?
Was it the homie? I thought it was like Sonny's son or something like that.
I don't know if it was his son. I think that, but anyway, that was his dude, his man. Maybe it was his son. Maybe they did say son.
Yeah.
But in any case, he gets the contract, and if he gets the contract, there's a scene outside where Lefty and Donnie go for a walk, and he reveals that if he does that well, that when the books open up, he could become an actual made man.
Mm-hmm. So. The next scene is interesting because the same 2 guys who've pretty much been the higher ups with the FBI, they're now at Joe, aka Donnie, at his house, talking with Maggie, and they're trying to get her to contact him because he's now in so deep that they believe they can't even pull him out.
Right, he's off the grid.
He's completely off the grid at this point. And they fear
3 weeks.
They fear that he could die or kill someone because he's so in tune with what's going on. And I like that scene because whether it was genuine or not, the FBI is now starting to see, fuck, this guy's really in deep at this point. Like he's been through 3 bosses at this point, and like he's really going that deep in there,
Yeah.
And basically, Donnie gets in position to be a maid guy. That's when Maggie finds out about the $300K in the bag from Florida,
Right?
And we find out later what the bag is for. But Donnie comes home, gets the bag. They have the moment there when it's discovered that Maggie did find the bag and actually stashed the bag. And we get this exchange. It's gotten so heated to where he's actually slapped her real quick.
And that was a complete transition. That was the moment where, there was kind of no coming back from that. And he says it at the end of the scene.
Yeah.
Like I actually expected, because she's like, you're becoming just like them, and he slaps her. I almost expected her to say, you already like them. But I kind of like the way you already are like them.
He says, I'm not becoming them. I am them.
Right.
And it was like, he's in. He can't get no more deeper than where he already is, And
exactly.
That's one of those things about like being an undercover cop must suck. And you know what? It does suck. And I'm going to tell you why toward the end of this movie, because that prize that they give him is bullshit. But we'll get to that later.
In that scene with his wife, he sort of foreshadowed what he might be thinking, because and he did it too with questioning Lefty on like how much would that boat you want cost.
Right.
He's in conflict over the fact that if he comes out from undercover and files his reports, and it's revealed that he is an undercover agent, that Lefty, who vouched for him all those years or months ago, will now be killed. Mm-hmm. And he loves this man, so he can't deal with that. That's this crisis of conscience. But he's trying to figure out a way out. Like maybe if he gives him this money and gets Lefty to disappear, then he can do what he has to do without injuring his friend.
Right. At this point, now Lefty meets up with Donnie. Donnie, they're talking about what you just said, and then that's when he reveals, he offers him basically the bag of cash to take it, get out of this life, disappear.
Well, he's about to, but
he's about to.
He can offer the cash. Out comes the picture,
the newspaper picture,
of the cruise line and not the cruise line, the yacht. And it's revealed that Lefty now knows that was an FBI boat that we had our party on, and Donnie once again has to explain his way out of a situation.
Yeah, which made me nervous because I thought that was it. I forgot how the movie ended, so I'm like, wait a minute, does Lefty find out who Donnie actually is, and he blows his head off? Like, what? How does this end?
I feel like he had to want to believe so much of all of the things in ways in which Donnie sort of got out of situations. Like, that was a weaker one.
Right.
Like, he wasn't standing on anything but the affection that Lefty had for him.
And I think likewise for Lefty. I do believe that Lefty did not want to actually kill Donnie. He just needed to know the truth.
Right.
So, but essentially, like you said, Donnie was able to talk his way out of the situation, and then when they find out where Bruno is, they put that aside and they make it about Bruno. Now, as they go over to where Bruno is at, where Bruno is hiding at, it becomes that really tense moment to where he's coming outside. You got your one shot to take it. You got to take it. So, the music's playing all crazy and, the tension is just high. And as he's getting ready to do something, of course, the bright shining light comes on and you got the FBI bus pretty much right behind them.
What was he going to do, though? Like, that he was mad when the FBI showed up, but how was he going to get out of that situation?
Without shooting him.
Or do you think he would have shot him?
I think he would have wounded him. I think to at least get him down, he probably would have shot him like in the kneecap or something. But, to say like he's down, let's just go. But, in the nick of time, soon as, Lefty's going, let's go. Do it, Donnie, do it. Next thing you know, FBI's there, they're getting busted. Now, I know most mob movies when it's, it's coming down to part to where, like, it's going to get revealed that the guy that's a snitch that's the guy, that's your snitch. And it's almost right on time when they become that close and you got to go for that one big score. And, of course, that last big score doesn't go down because there's the FBI ready to make their bust.
Right.
And it always happens that way.
Right. What interested in me about this FBI is like how in the next scene, like how anxious they were to sort of gloat on the fact that this dude was an undercover agent, and they show up at the bar and they're laying out all these pictures about Donnie, taking his FBI owed him in the training academy
just
and all this
snitching.
stuff. Just to like twist the knife. And Donnie has done his job so well that they're sitting up like, nah. Wasn't this before Photoshop? How did they think that they had all these pictures? Like today, you could be like, "Oh, come on, you photoshopped that. That's not real."
Yeah, I mean, This is what the movie starts in February of '78, so I think it goes all the way to like what 81, probably 82. It didn't last
Right.
that long, but I know around that time Photoshop wasn't a thing yet.
No,
So
no.
a picture is a picture. So
Right. I was just like, it looked pretty convincing.
like, oh, that looks like Donnie. He looks like he's definitely taking that oath and showing his badge for sure.
I kind of like the fact that we don't see what happens to Lefty. We gotten to love him so much that, hey, we know how it's going to go down, but, they don't let us see it. I see one of our favorite characters go down, but he knows it. He's been sent for again. He's going out the house. And more so than the other times in his life when he's been sent for, this time, he, takes up all his valuables. He leaves them in his little drawer, leaves the drawer open so his wife is sure to find them. And I feel like he went out with a lot of dignity. I mean, it is what it is. But he had that one line that sort of, it had to be somebody, I'm glad it was you. That's what he tells his wife to tell Donnie. Donnie calls, tell him, if it had to be someone, I'm glad it was you. What do you take from that line?
I take that going back to that first conversation in the car when the newspaper clipping comes out. I think ever since then, Lefty knew Donnie was FBI. But the love that he has for him and the fact that Donnie's been there for him through so many, tight squeezes, it's like it don't even matter, And then it goes back to the, cancer of the prick thing. He may actually have cancer of the prick, so he's going to die regardless. So by the time he gets that phone call, say, you've been sent for, I mean, it is like dying with dignity because we don't see him die, but we do know that it is now beyond known that Donnie is definitely a cop.
Right.
So that sent for could be either he's going to go turn himself in, or he's getting sent for to go see the big bosses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a side note, real quick, I do think, if you think about the makeup and stuff, they did have him looking more ragged as the film went on.
Who? Lefty?
Al Pacino, Lefty, yeah. So I don't know, that cancer of the prick thing was said, and it was very subtly in there, but just when you were saying that, he did look kind of worn.
That could be Morgan. That could be Al Pacino because I always felt like Al Pacino and Morgan Freeman are in that club of they were born old. So
right.
no matter what they do, they were born at 30 technically. So they get their wrinkles early.
But anyway, that was a great scene. He exits the door, and then you hear a gunshot, but it's a transition straight to it's kind of an implied end of his life. But then we transition back to Donnie,
right?
Who's now back in cop land,
right,
or FBI land.
So he, Joe gets the I'm gonna assume the Congressional Medal of Honor, or something like that.
Just some sort of medal,
definitely a medal. Yeah,
from the Department of Defense was what the medal said.
Right. So he gets that, but they also, for his hard work, bravery, and dignity, they also give him a check for $500.
For 3 years without your family and putting your life at risk daily.
Now all of a sudden the mob life don't seem that bad.
Right.
They
definitely took care. I mean, they might shoot you at the end of the day if you're disloyal, but I don't know.
They're not going to give you $500.
Yeah.
They're not going to give you $500. That I can tell you. But
funny, kind of look at it on both sides of the fence. There's stuff that you just have to eat and deal with. There was stuff that Lefty obviously wasn't able to ascend to the levels within the organization that he wanted to, and he just had to eat it.
Right.
When he was passed over, he had to eat it. And I feel like on the FBI side, this was kind of Joe, Special Agent Joe Pistone, now just had to eat that.
Right. It's a cold world we live in. But
Oh,
the
brother.
movie ends like that. But I thought it was very interesting that the title card before the credits does indicate that there is still currently a $500,000 bond on his head.
Right.
That like they're still looking for him.
Ooh.
So to have 500K on your head like that, I can imagine it's stressful for anybody.
Right. He probably ain't got no hair left. Like
Man, oh Lord. So that's it. That's the movie.
that's the
Donnie
movie.
Brasco, 20 years. Let me ask you a question before we get into takeaways. Do you remember the first time you seen this movie?
I remember. Yeah, I remember. Because like 20 years ago, I was, well, coming out of college. So I
It's all
was
right.
like,
It's okay. You
I
let it be
remember.
known.
I remember it. But yeah, I remember just being jazzed about it. I loved it. I was really into Johnny Depp at the time. I thought it was brilliant, and I still think that you criticize Jack Sparrow, but I think um, that is great in its own way too.
I mean, the first one is great. The other one's blow.
Okay,
Yeah.
we agree to disagree. Agree to disagree. I like
Exactly.
this one.
Now, what about remake? Status. Do you think that this movie can be remade today?
Oh, please don't.
Leave it
I just
alone.
please leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
It's classic. It's great. I don't think. No, it doesn't need to be remade. No,
Okay.
I'm
I
crazy.
can tell you the first time I seen this movie was on Cinemax. I think I had to be about 13 around the time. That's probably the first time I seen it. But let's get into takeaways. Takeaways is part of the show where we talk about the favorite characters, least favorite characters, favorite female characters, worst scene, favorite scene, and then we'll go back and forth on that. So takeaways. Who are you giving the That Guy award to?
That guy for my favorite character. Is that what that
Favorite
means?
male character.
Favorite male character. That guy. Um, I I have to give it to Lefty. Lefty. I feel like Al Pacino did such a heck of a job of making this like hardened dude likable. I really did like him. I felt sad for him to be tricked in this way when he really just was looking for, you know, looking to help, looking for somebody to connect with.
Okay. Who was getting the That Chick award?
That chick award was kind of hard in
There's
this
only one
movie.
chick
Like
in here.
it was a very male, but I'm gonna give it to the three sisters that were singing in that montage. We talked about the fact that there's no black people in this movie, so just on the fact that they made it into the final cut, singing and dancing in the club, I'm gonna say those chicks.
Okay. Okay. Power to the people.
Proud to the people.
This Fool award, which is your least favorite character.
Oh man. I'm gonna give that to the FBI guy from DC. I mean, all the other characters. I just feel like I just hate that when in life, it's just in real life when people come. They haven't had their hands in the situation. They're not in the dirt with you, and they come in trying to call shots. That's just. I just think that's always gets on my nerves.
Okay. Cut that out. What is your least favorite scene? What could be cut out?
Least favorite scene. I would say you could cut out. You could probably cut out the sad scene where he misses his daughter's confirmation. You know, I went where Donnie Brasco misses it and she's sad. I felt like we got the point by now. He's destroying his family.
You're a shit father. We got it. Like, we get
Right,
it.
we got it.
Okay. And of course, the iconic scene. What's your favorite scene in this movie?
Well, I would say favorite scene. There's so many. I like. I love moments where it just I watch it and I say, "Dang, I want to do that. And I got that feeling from Al Pacino, both characters really, but from Al Pacino in the hospital waiting room where he sort of gets choked up and ends up saying, "Hey, I love you, man." And I thought that was just honest and great.
Nice. For me, my That Guy award is I'm gonna copy you. Is gonna go to Lefty. A mob guy, a wise guy. You're supposed to hate him and what he represents, but he is just so damn lovable. Al Pacino played the hell out of this character. I feel like when given the right role, Al Pacino could really shine. And you're gonna do what you're fucking told. And that's his shtick,
Right.
But as Lefty, it's just a fun character, and he's a guy that's definitely he's broken, but at the same time he's together. But he looks to Donnie, like I said, not so much like a son, but like the best friend he's never had.
Yeah.
That chick award, because there's only one chick in here, I'm going to give it to the wife, Maggie, because through all the craziness that she had to endure while the husband is out risking his life on a daily basis, she deals with it, and she deals with it the best way she can until she reaches that breaking point. Mm-hmm. So I take my hat off to her. I commend her for sticking through it, for taking care of the house, take care of the babies, while, you're kind of in fear to where you kind of don't know if you're going to get that phone call or they're going to pop up at your door with the flag, let you know, like, this is what happened,
Yeah.
So for that, for sticking it out with him, I salute her for that. This Fool Award, I'm going to say that this Fool Award, I don't want to take yours, but I'm going to take yours. The agent from DC.
Yeah.
The reason why, because he's such a dick. It's like in all the undercover cop movies, the Bureau themselves just simply don't care. You could die today. As long as we got our guy, hey, you did what you were doing for your country. And I'm going to sign off on that $500 check and give it to your wife in case she needs it. I hated that. And then it goes to gloat about it once, it's been burst. We now know that he's not the wise guy. He's actually a cop. So,
right.
I hated him. I thought I really wish there was a shootout and he got shot. Cut that out award. I'm gonna say the lion wasn't needed. I mean, it serves its purpose.
I like the lion.
It serves its purpose. I just feel like them feeding the lion 40 damn hamburgers just wasn't needed to me. It just wasn't. But it served its purpose, for the casino bus scene. But and of course the iconic scene to me is it's a small one. It's basically Sonny is talking to Lefty, after they've already had the conversation about looking for the rat in the crew, and as they tell Donnie to get in the front seat, and Sonny brings up, don't forget we're looking for the rat. And Lefty immediately goes, "Oh, I think I already found him."
Mm-hmm.
When I seen that scene, it made my heart jump. I was like, "Oh shit, come on, Donnie, man, you gotta get through this, man." And I thought that was it. I thought that we're gonna get to parts where Pacino's gonna sell out Johnny Depp to Sonny Black, and it's gonna go downhill from there. So to me, that was definitely my favorite scene, the iconic scene to me, for sure.
Yeah.
So now we're going to get into quick hits. Final segment of the show. Basically, we go over production facts for the movie. Talk about casting that happened but didn't happen, scenes that happened that didn't happen, and we pretty much try to figure out why didn't they do it? Why did they do it? What could it be? What could elevate the movie more? And that's that.
Okay.
All right. So quick hits. Number 1. In an interview, Joseph D. Pistone. Is it Pistone or Pistone?
It's Pistone.
Pistone. Oh, you know why? Because
they say Pistone when he's getting his award. It's just another slap in the face.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, leave me alone, Donnie. I got you. Okay, in an interview, Joseph D. Pistone said he didn't see his family for at least 2 years while he was undercover.
Wow.
That's usually how most undercover jobs go. They're under for a while.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. No, I mean, what he said to his wife, or what comes from the script, is that he thought it was going to be 3 months initially, and this happened in 2 years.
Right.
And why didn't they play it like that in the movie? It really cuts the wife out of the movie completely. That's the one woman you have in the story. Is like, we need to get her in here somehow.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So the word "fuck" is used 185 times.
Really?
We can tell.
Were there a lot of fucks? I might be immune to fucks.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I didn't even notice them.
There's a lot of fucks and cocksuckers, but then again, when you're watching a mob movie, you expect it, so you kind of lose track. Like, oh, you know what? There's a whole lot of fucks in this movie, but you know what? I'm not even counting them. It's fine.
I didn't notice them. I think, and that's a sad commentary. I become immune
to the word fuck. So fuck that. Al Pacino was originally going to play Donnie Brasco. When he switched to lefty, he recommended Johnny Depp.
Good move.
Great move. Great move. Not great move. Thank you.
Great move. Yeah.
Johnny Depp spent months with the real Joseph D. Pistone before shooting. Most of the time, they lifted weights together.
Well, I guess that's where that little scene came in, where he's lifting the weights in the apartment.
Right.
That's interesting.
I mean, there's nothing
I don't know, like, that's cool, but I wonder, like, if it's as necessary in a movie like this, because we don't know who Joseph Pistone is.
Right.
Like, we can't tell if, he was dead on with that or not.
He sure could lift that weight. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like hanging out with a former undercover agent and you're trying to play him, and the only thing you guys talk about is lifting weights. So,
right.
I guess that's cool in itself. Kind of create the character as you go. Alec Baldwin, Nicolas Cage, and John Cusack were considered for the role of Donnie Brasco. I like Depp.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of Nicolas Cage back in the day.
No. He was extreme then. He'll be extreme now. No. Like Face Off came out this same year. He was better off doing Face Off and Con Air and all that. Leave Donnie Brasco alone.
Leave it alone. All right. Leave it alone.
Director Mike Newell said that the point of the violence is to show that it's a terrible mess. Point taken.
Point taken, yes.
Okay, last one. Joseph Pistone's report lists lefty guns, lefty two guns, half-cocked, and horse-cock as false names for Benjamin Ruggiero.
Right. I saw that in the little, the transition they had where the report would kind of be typed across the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Some of those seem contradictory. Is it a half-cock or horse-cock?
Yeah, so it's like half-cock, like a quarter chub, and like a horse-cock is like at full attention?
Right, maybe.
These mob guys, you never know. But that's the show. I've had so much fun with you, man. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for hanging out with me today. It's been super cool. You got to come back for another one.
I would love to. This was great. I love movies. I love talking about film. And, yeah.
Awesome.
Just let me know.
So, real quick, let the people know where they can find you. Plug yourself. Also, tell them about Booking Room as well.
Oh, yeah. If you want to check in to your potential, that's what we say over at the Booking Room. You can always go to bookingroomla.com. Bookingroomla.com. Me, I'm on social media as Folmarcus, Folmarcus, and I'd love to, have you follow me. I do all my updates about what's going on there, Instagram, and what else? Alleywayseries.com. Would love for your comments and share it, and stay tuned for season 2 coming soon.
I'm in there. I'm totally in there. You can find me on all the social medias at I am Jay Alonzo. You talk to me, I'll talk back. Special shout out to my partner in crime, my brother Kay Williams. Don't forget, we're doing another show this week. We're doing a live Oscar show on Saturday. Okay, so we're doing Oscar prediction show. So stick around for that. Looking forward to that. How do you think the Oscars are going to go?
I think it's going to be a good year. Yeah, we're going to have a good, diverse year. Probably a lot of, expect a lot of commentaries. Lots of social commentary.
Lots. And that's it. We're done. Another episode of Back to the Classics is complete. Thank you once again to Marcus Folmar for riding in the DeLorean with us. Thank you for putting gas in it. I was short this week, and we can't wait to have you back on, man.
All right. I'll see you soon.
This is Back to the Classics. We are out.